Movie review, Brotherly Love. Well, that was the US title for this movie. In the UK, it was called Country Dance. It was released in 1970, directed by J. A. Lee Thompson. Screenplay by James Kennaway, based upon a play, Country Dance, novel Household Ghosts, by Addison. And in the cast, in the lead role, Peter O'Toole, Sir Charles Arbuthnot Pinkerton Ferguson. His sister, Hilary, is played by Susannah York. Douglas Dow is Hilary's husband, played by Michael Craig. Brigadier Grieve is played by Harry Andrews. Dr. Cyril Cusack, Judy Corn, and Jack Baird plays Blessed. Okay, I watched this film a few weeks ago, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to review it now. Set in the very, very pretty part of the world in Perthshire and County Wicklow, and it's a tragic comedy, really, set in to a fading Scottish aristocratic family, in which the drunken Sir Charles Henry Arbuthnot Pinkerton Ferguson, nicknamed Pink, played brilliantly by Peter O'Toole, has a sort of maybe incestuous relationship with his equally eccentric sister Hilary Dow, played brilliantly by Susannah York. I'm now going to go through my notes, and it has to be said, you can watch this movie and get to the end of it and think, well, yeah, a few highlights, but it's much ado about nothing. That's not the case, but you have to follow the script and follow the antics and theatrics of the two leads. The plot revolves around Sister Hilary's desire to relocate to her husband's home from her current abode, living with her demanding, excessively manic brother Charles, known as Pink. And as you see, a very bizarre set of circumstances take place, and they're made real by witnessing the antics and tomfoolery of Charles. Hilary is equally capable of the theatrics, but she believes her brother Charles may take his own life if she were to leave, having failed really to grow up after the passing years back of the two parents. Opens to the sound of bagpipes in a typical rural Scottish setting, and we then follow York in her classic sports car as she heads towards the stately manor where she resides with her brother. However, she stops off in a small town which is invaded by flocks of sheep, typical of the surrounding countryside. Sorry about that noise. People selling constantly here on the estate. Poverty is here in abundance, it has to be said. This is farming country, and a brief encounter with her husband Douglas with Hilary in the town then leads to her continuing on to the stately home. Sir Charles, as we will quickly realise, is quite mad, and we learn it early on. He talks to the animals, delivers his speech at a breathtaking speed. The scenes we witness reflect the lifestyles of the aristocracy and the wealthy. Hilary sipping champagne while lounging in a soapy bathtub, her brother cavorting around wearing just a brief towel, and the dialogue mainly spoken by Charles, a pontification about topics ranging from the inconsequential to emotional fits of jealousy and envy at other men's interest in his pretty sister. Buffoonery rules alongside emotional control, following a verbal set at a local social event, and we see vividly an array of emotions at that particular event. Feeling hurt and rejected following by Hilary's enormous guilt at her cutting words towards her brother. The relationship recovers, though, through play and fantasy later, as both retreat to the safety of yesteryear, when they both felt the pain of watching their parents destroy each other emotionally. York's performance here is commendable, handling two very damaged men, and I'm including here Doug as well. He has issues regarding a lack of maturity, and he has a lack of fighting spirit in his need to be with his wife. She maintains a mothering role to both fragile egos. This theatrical event brings out a music hall type act involving Pink and Hilary. They become a duo in cabaret and stand up, targeting Doug as the subject of ridicule. Pink wallows in Doug's perceived weak character, and we as viewers are reminded frequently of the question, are they lovers or are they just close as siblings can be? A tantalising thought, to be sure. To analyse Hilary's motives in this intense relationship with her brother. Is it just that her fear of him taking his life, or if she leaves, or are there deeper issues of her own, regressive desires, her avoidance of responsibility, of being a parent, for example? Is she avoiding this? The scenes between York and O'Toole have a magical improvised feel to them. Both at the top of their game they are, and they are like two ends of a concertina coming together and then parting constantly. And of course Pink is at his most boisterous, funny and obnoxious after a belly full of alcohol. O'Toole, one suspects, given his reputation, would have dealt with these scenes with panache, vigour and sincerity, noting the vocabulary usage akin to highly educated upper-class gentry. And there are many hilarious moments to remind one that this is a comedy, mixed in with all the outrageous behaviour, of course, which we can attribute to the rich and famous. Both Pink and Hilary are prone to impulsive philandering. About Pink's previous brushes with the mental health system in the UK in the past. Echoing the disturbed nature of Pink's mind, we witness a weird incident when Pink's out with his shotgun, grouse shooting, and manages to connect with his own ear. Alarm Bell's frivolity, and that appears to be how Pink reacts to this sort of game. But you have to work it all out, really. Is Pink sensing Hilary moving on with her life? Is the writing on the wall for him? And as the plot hurtles towards the inevitable conclusion with regard to his mental health. In conclusion, the acting by O'Toole is absolutely brilliant. The mania, the pleas to be mothered, to be looked after, as he totally regresses into childhood throughout the movie. The final frames, of course, are pretty predictable, and it leaves one with thoughts about mental illness and all its ramifications. I really enjoyed this movie on my third watch. So you interested in the movies, just take note of that comment. Sometimes these movies do take time to delve into one's psyche, and this is certainly the case with the 1970 movie Brotherly Love, starring Peter O'Toole and Susannah York.